Hi guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Dream Team Diaries. This is the Rucks edition. So let's have a look at the ruck options and the strategy for the makeup of the rucks. Pretty simple, like most seasons I think. Choose one premium, choose one mid-priced support player that looks like improving in 2013, or maybe that had a premium, had a down year last year, and the toughest job in AFL fantasy, finding two ruck rookies. One of them is quite easy this year. So let's have a look at the premium ruck options. Dean Cox had a bit of a hand problem throughout the pre-season, but looks in good form. He'd be most people's number one pick. Ivan Marek, the Tiger, who had a big year last year. 505 is a lot. I think his form might slightly go down, but and that means career best form, so it's hard to see it going up any further. I hope it does. It's a Tiger, but I think he might just go a little bit down this year, and I also think that it'll go down a little bit because I think they'll use him at slightly less minutes in the ruck. Maybe try and get some more time out of Vickery in the ruck, or possibly even Oren Stephenson as a support ruck. Even Vickery can't hold his weight as a forward. So keep that in mind. I think he might end up as like a 470, 450,000 player this season, which isn't bad. But if you're happy to wear that loss and keep him as a lock in your team for the entire season, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Oh, the good thing about Dean Cox, is I'll quickly go back as well, is that he's also a forward this year, and there's a few options to use that dual position functionality with the rucks this year that wasn't there last year. It was tough finding the dual position ruckman last year to actually use that functionality with. This year I think there's lots of options. Aaron Sandlin's hamstring injury, injured again. No, not this year. Jared Ruffhead looks in top form as both a forward, defender, ruck, whatever you want to choose. He could be a really good, unique pick this year, I think, and another dual position player. So it might be worth using him as one of your premium forwards, maybe. So you can swap out players during the for injuries, suspensions, or during the bye rounds. Patrick Ryder looks a little bit off from what I saw in the single game at Wangaratta against the Tigers. He's probably at the right price, but I don't think he'll move much from there. Ben McAvoy, likewise, I think Tom Hickey will take some more time in the ruck at the Saints this year to give Ben McAvoy a little bit of a rest, so I think he'd probably stay at around about that price, maybe even drop a tad. Sam Jacobs, expect the same from Sam Jacobs in 2013 as last year, so don't worry about that. Will Minson, surprising last year how well he went. With Ace Cordy and Roughhead developing at the Doggies, will he get quite as much time this year? Who knows? But I wouldn't be picking Will Minson, just personally. Nick Natanui had an injury-problemed pre-season with back and groin and stuff, and probably not one. He's probably a better Supercoach player anyway than Dream Team. So I'd probably pick him as a Supercoach player for sure if he was fit, but not as a Dream Teamer. But he's another one of the dual position rucks, so you could quite easily go with Cox as a forward and Natanui as a ruck if they were both fit. But I don't think Natanui's going to have a great year. And it's that reason why I don't think West Coast are going to have a fantastic year, especially with Andrew Embley already injured and Daniel Kerr having injury problems. But I digress. I'll go back. Darren Jolly, he's tapering off badly, I think, in his career. Really have to manage him this year, I think, and I think Ben Hudson will play probably 6 or 7 games just to give Darren Jolly a rest into the finals. Seemed like last year he had some knee problems. Shane Mumford, back problems. Don't like that in big men. Probably much like Jolly, might even at a younger age, he's going to have to be nursed through a bit, I think. Jonathan Giles, be interesting to see how GWS go with him. almost seemed like they didn't want him at the end of last year, even after a good season with trade rumours and stuff flying around, and took a while to sign his contract, so who knows. Hamish McIntosh played a handful of games, had a really good average through those games, which is why his price is so high. But he's injured again already at the Cats. The man lives in bandages and tape, I think. David Hale, he's lost all his hair, and I'm not having a guy that looks like that in my dream team. It's as simple as that. I mean, I'm not a good-looking man, but David Hale's harsh on the eye, and I'm going to have to watch him, so I'm not going to put him in my team. Tommy Bell-Chambers could be a really good ruckman, that kid. Really good. He could be one if you're forced to go down the list a bit because of salary cap. If you're going to choose a ruckman around the $400,000 mark, Tom Bell-Chambers would be the one for me. Toddy Goldstein. A lot of people love him. I'm not sure about Todd Goldstein, although I think Kangaroos are going to have a great season this year. And some people have been talking about Richmond as a top 4, which is pretty much impossible. But Kangaroos, who I think Richmond will be challenging with, maybe in a few years' time as the young players develop. I think Kangaroos are ready to top 4, and I don't think their draw is anywhere near as bad as people talk it up to be. I think they'll have a really good season this year, the Kangaroos. Matty Cruiser. I don't know, injury trouble all the time. I'm waiting for him to explode into that player that everyone talks him about. At the minute, the Cruiser Cup is looking more like the Cochin Cup that Richmond won, and Carlton lost. So I hope for Carlton's sake he comes good, and I hope for Dream Team's sake, because the 403 is probably cheap compared to the potential he has. Foot Soldiers. Jonathan Griffin with Sandilands out. Possibly a very good option at 397. He'll be playing. Can get good scores. David Hill, very much at the tail end of his career. Give him a miss. Ben Hunton will only play a handful of games this year. So give him a miss. Zach Clark. Yeah, no, I don't think he's a Dream Team player. So if you're going to be looking at him further down the list at 360, give him a miss. Stephen Martin, I thought, would do really well at Brisbane. I thought he's the kind of player, get on his bike, mobile, could really help out. Could be one to watch, but at $3.56 starting price, yeah, I'm going to steer clear for now. But I do like how Stephen Martin plays his footy. But even at $3.50, he might be slightly overpriced. I don't like him that much. Trent West injured at the Cats. They've got some ruck injury woes down there at the moment, so give him a miss at the start of here. Matthew Lobb, I'm going to group him in with Tom Bell-Chambers. I think Matthew Lobby, depending on who you talk to, is a great ruckman. Like, could be one of the better ones in the league. I think maybe if you went Bell-Chambers and Lobb as your two ruckmen, you wouldn't be going too badly this season, to be honest. I think they've got massive potential. Sean Hampson with Warnock, Hampson, Cruiser, Rowe. I don't know where Hampson fits in the pecking order. He's probably a little bit down it, to be honest. So give him a miss. Mark J. Maher was one of the better ruckmen a couple of years ago, but he's just beginning to tail off a bit as a ruckman. But as Melbourne improve this year, which I think they will, I think J. Maher may also improve. Be interesting to see how he works with the midfield with Maloney missing, who was kind of his partner in crime. They seem to have a good understanding, so it'll be interesting to see how he works in with the younger midfield there at Melbourne. Joshy Jenkins, everyone was on him, going to replace Kurt Tippett. You can get good stores, Josh Jenkins, but if he's going to play Kurt Tippett's role, than the scores he got last year as that third forwardy ruckman type. They're going to dissipate and disappear into not that much. Brent Renouf had him as the end of last year as my third or fourth ruckman. I had both Redden and Renouf on my bench, thinking one of the two is going to play for Port. And then Matthew Lobb popped up at the end of the year and ruined my theory. But Brent Renouf, just injury riddled and not that good. Dean Brogan, probably not going to play much this year. Jared Redden, another good young Port ruckman. Lots of potential. Not sure the coaches last year had so much faith in him, but I think he's a good ruck. We'll see how Kenny Hinkley goes with him. Zach Smith, a couple of years ago, he was the messiah from Gold Coast as the third ruckman, getting great scores. Second year Blues last year. Could be on the rise again this year, Zach Smith. Keep an eye on him at 300,000. Cam Pedersen, I mentioned before, not really new. Robert Warnock, again, don't know where he is in the pecking order. Give him a miss. Aaron Stephenson, on the rookie list. If Merritt goes down, jump on him, because his scores will go right up, I think. Seems to have a really good understanding with guys like Kochi and Dustin Martin, Brett Delidio, Shane Tuck in the midfield already. So I think if he does play, he'll definitely score well. And Tom Hickey, the youngster at St Kilda, really like Tom Hickey. Think he's going to be a really good ruckman. But he's going to be spending the smaller portion of time on the ball with McAvoy. So the restricted minutes he's going to have on ball are probably going to mean his price will stay pretty much where it is. Angus Graham, I don't know what Adelaide were thinking trading for Angus Graham. That is going nowhere. I can't believe they've got Angus Graham and Richie Tambling on the one list. I can't believe Adelaide have got that and they're still good. It's amazing. It's amazing. And Billy Longer, young Brisbane ruckman, with Leuenberger's injury. He could be the next in line, and he is a good player. Really good player. So, be interesting to see what happens at Brisbane with their rucks. Whether or not Stephen Martin steps into the breach with Leuenberger down. Whether they bring Billy Longer up and give him the number one spot and Stephen Martin as support. Who knows? Be interesting to see. More futsal. Ace Cordy, still up and coming, probably not worth having a look at. Matthew Leuenberger, I think, was most people's locks at 233. Such a good ruckman, just guy's made of chalk. You just can't keep on the field, that dude. And there's another guy made of chalk, Max Bailey. Both those guys, I'm sure, could get themselves injured just lying on the couch. And yet both of them are such good players. It must be frustrating for the clubs, frustrating for Dream Team as well. Matthew Leuenberger has thrown all the cards back into the air with his Achilles injury this week. Yeah, frustrating. Nathan Vardy was one early on when I did my analysis I was looking at. He's got some niggly injuries again at Geelong. He was going to be a forward anyway. Such a talented player though. Another injury prone one. Seems to be a common theme going through these three at the moment. Sean McKernan. Yeah, I don't think he's as good as everyone says. But I put him in my list here because he's dual position as well. And he definitely will play with the Kurt Tippett shipping off to the Swannies for I'm sure there's a brown paper bag sitting on the boat off the pier of the bay off the harbour in Sydney for Kurt Tippett there. Dawson Simpson, I think he's injured as well, the Cats. I think they're struggling for rucks down there, but yeah, he's not really dream teamer anyway. And we'll have a quick look at the rookies. Sam Rowe, he is a player of extreme interest. He looks from the sounds of Mick Malthouse interviews that I've heard lately, he loves this guy. I mean, he's obviously got the heart the size of far left. He's got courage coming back from cancer to already be playing top line footy again. Dual position player. Why that's handy is not as a bench ruckman, but as a bench forward. So if you have him as a bench forward, you could, in times of injury, bring Cox into your forward line and move your third ruckman onto the ground. That third ruckman will come up in a minute. Jared Witts, a lot of hype from Collingwood. Haven't seen much of him. Has played in the pre-season, but still don't see what. I mean, I see the athleticism and stuff, but I don't see the footballer yet. Tom Downey could get some games at GWS this year. Majak Dor, not going to be a great dream team player. Just because he gets a game doesn't mean he's going to get good numbers. And I don't care what anyone says, that goal against Richmond in the NAB Cup, he ran 35 metres without bouncing that damn ball. So it'd be nice to Kevin Bartlett to maybe address that rule. Although he seems to like players not bouncing the ball as long as they're exciting. A la Jeddah at the Swans last year, running 120 metres without bouncing the ball and kicking the goal, just because it's exciting. Brady Grundy, he's behind Ben Hudson, so I mean, if Jolly goes down, then Hudson will move in. So Hudson's going to have to go down as well, I think, before Grundy gets in. And that's why Witts is probably behind Grundy as well. So I think Grundy's had some injury problems. So in the pre-season, so probably not a great option. Callum Sinclair's, he used to be on North Melbourne's list from memory, I think. Played some time in a waffle, a couple of years, got some good games. Dual position, don't think he's going to get a game for West Coast though. And Daniel Curry. Now I was talking about Sam Rowe before, I was talking about a third ruck. This guy could be the key. He could be the Zach Smith from 2 years ago that allows you for when you have an injury or a problem with your premiums up forward, to shift a player like Cox down into your forward line. Then you'll have your second, your mid-priced ruck, and Curry as your two ruckmen on the field, and you'll have coverage. But yeah, Daniel Curry, I'd be surprised if 100% of teams don't have Daniel Curry in their team. He's looked actually really good in the pre-season. Like, I remember discussing with people before the draft, I was hoping Richmond would draft Daniel Curry, but obviously they had plans with Orange Stephenson, which is fair enough. We didn't pay anything for Orange Stephenson, so freebie, but yeah, Daniel Curry, impressive young fella, or youngish fella. Used to be on the Swans list. But good that he got back in the AFL. Possible lineups. So I'm looking at Cox as still the premium ruckman in the AFL. He still looks to have the goods in the pre-season to me. Now I've got Leuenberger in there at the moment. That has been thrown up in the air. But if Dan Curry plays, I might keep Leuenberger in there and just play Curry in round one. Now I've put Osborne in there as a ruck. That is strategic, as I explained, and it's because I'm thinking of putting Sam Rowe as a bench player in my forward line, which gives me that flexibility to bring Rowe into the forward line as a spare if I'm having some ruck problems. I don't expect big numbers from Rowe. He looks to be like maybe a 40 to 50 point player at tops, but it's better than nothing. But more will be explained with Rowe there as I go through the forwards. There's not a lot of great depth in the rookie forwards. There are some risky ones in there, but we'll discuss that a bit later. And that's the next podcast leading into that, the forwards. So we'll see you then. Thanks for listening. And as per usual, website, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, you can get all this stuff. Got any problems or questions rather, send me a message on Twitter, or there's a contact form as well on the website. Or you can email me with some questions if you got anything, if you need any help. And that's all. Thanks for listening.